Good morning, everyone. Do something a little different today. Something that was brought to my attention, posted on the Tom Sawyer community page about it here. And this is Mrs. Andrea Zabinski's YouTube channel called Holy Spirit Led Christians. First thing I want to point out, and I noticed this because I just noticed these things. People, led. If you're being led by someone, it's LED. This is like lead poisoning, okay? So I've noticed that a lot when people say, or lead, that says lead, okay? Lead or lead. But if you're being led by someone, whether it's, led astray or whatever the case may be, it's LED, okay? Just wanted to point that out. I've been seeing that a lot lately. I mean, I'm no English major or anything, but come on. All right. Anyway, I gotta have fun with this, folks. I do, because this is a very interesting thing. This was brought to my attention a few days ago. First it was emailed to me, and then it was texted to me. And so I checked the email first, and I looked at it, and I didn't really pay too much attention except for the list. And then later on, when it was texted to me, I went a little further in detail. Well, Mrs. Zabinski, I believe it's Mrs. I think she's still married. I'm not exactly sure. But that's irrelevant at this point. But I'll get into that. But she put out a video. She's actually put out many videos over, I guess, the last year or so. And she has quite a following, almost 2,000 subscribers. And, her videos are usually pretty long. I checked into a few of them on teachings on various topics. I mean, let's just go through them here before we, oops, let me go back. No, let me go back. Whom do you trust? The Midnight Cry. Did you get the invitation to the wedding supper? This one's really funny, actually. If you look at this one, the horns are actually behind her head as she's speaking of the Anubis creature here, being led by the jackals. Again, here we go. Being led, L-E-A-D. It's L-E-D, not L-E-A-D. Okay, anyway, let's see. I know I'm being facetious and being kind of a jerk this morning, but that's all right. The whelp of the Lion of Judah. So it just goes on and on. Then you got like this Passover part 1 through 5. Da 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 da. This is I'm gonna tell you in a second why I'm pointing all of this out. Okay, these are all of these teachings on her channel. There's a nice Daniel's timeline of the last 42 months to the rapture, and it goes on and on and on. Okay, so people can check it out if they want. Holy Spirit led Christians. Make sure you spell the led the way she does, L-E-A-D, if you look it up. But anyway, this is what got my attention, and this is why I'm doing this video. We have this video right here. Warning, false teachers listed. You must be born again with the Holy Spirit. And they actually spelled Holy Spirit led Christians and fellowship correctly that time. But anyway, all right, so you must be led by the Holy Spirit. All right, let's check this thing out here. Okay, I know it's kind of hard to read here, so I'm going to go ahead and read it to you all. All right, so this is her testimony of Christ that gave her His Holy Spirit in all truth. I have no agenda other than I gave my life to Christ in April of 2021 and started hearing the Holy Spirit within days. Oh, let me go back. Hold on. I have to pause that, I guess. All right. He told me it was the mark. He gave me scriptures to study. I knew nothing. I was agnostic, had zero Bible knowledge, and told him that I only wanted to learn from him, and he started showing me bit by bit, opening the book of Daniel. I have logged over 5,000 hours in the Bible, cashed in my entire savings, 200,000 plus, to live and serve Christ alone, as he told me we were at the end. I gave up my $100,000 career and had no idea what this would lead to. Hold on. Healed me from being an alcoholic in April 2021 after giving my life entirely, so I know he heals and loves us. None of the money mattered, nor does my flesh. Okay. Go to the next thing. I trust only Jesus. I have watched so many take people down to the pit, meanwhile screaming for people not to follow them, only to fall on deaf ears, but to only listen to the Holy Spirit, and then if led, there we go again, L-E-A-D, supposed to be L-E-D, to watch my teachings as I was led, L-E-A-D. Okay, many of you truly born again of the Holy Spirit have been together for over a year learning together. We all had a piece of the truth, led by the Holy Spirit only. All right. I know, it sounds like I'm picking on poor Andrea, but it'll make sense here. Give me a second. Andrea brought this on herself. We never went on our own understanding. I gave up my life and my family, literally have not spoken to them for 2 years as they took the mark after warnings. So for those that want to come and tell me I am false, woe to them. I am not here in these last days to do anything but teach what the Lord has shown me. That is it. My life here on this earth was given up 100%, and I have died to flesh. Have you? God bless. Jesus is coming, but only for a few. All right. Now, is that the end of it? Let me see. And there's no sound to any of this. Oh, here we go. And then she posts Ephesians 5:11 through 14. Do not participate in unfruitful deeds of darkness, but instead even expose them, for it is disgraceful even to speak of the things which are done by them in secret, but all things become visible when they are exposed by the light, for everything that becomes visible is light. All right. I think that's the end of the video, or this, I don't know what you want to call it, PowerPoint presentation. Okay. All right, so I'm going to rewind to the beginning. Okay. Here we go. So why am I picking on poor Andrea? Because Andrea decided to put out a list of either false prophets, according to her, false prophets, false teachers, people who promote false prophets or false teachers, are friends with false prophets or false teachers, have anything to do with false prophets and false teachers at all. So let's look at her list. It's time to expose the darkness. This list is not exclusive, but woe to those that are false. Following false teachers, prophets? Question mark. Okay, so here we go. Now, if you go to Andrea's profile or to some of her videos and you click on the More section under some of her videos, especially on this one, if you click under More, she has a bunch more names listed than she lists on here. Plus the names that she had previously listed as well in this PowerPoint presentation-like video. All right, so here is her explanation of everything. It's time to out a list of people that promote false prophets, are false prophets / prophetesses, once saved, always saved, or Hebrew roots / Sabbath keepers. They are not Bible read nor filled with the Holy Spirit. It's to a point that if you are listening to or friends with these people, take a look at their Facebook feeds and their YouTube channels on whom and what they promote and what, hold on, they teach, say. Many of these people you have watched are friends with the people on this list, Facebook pages and YouTube. Please use your discernment. These are false Christians with agendas, or they teach one thing and not the entire Bible. Okay, so that's Andrea's beginning of this. Let's move on. Kind of hard to move on here because you don't know. Okay. Did I go too far? Let me see. I don't think I did. Let me see. Okay, here we go. The key is that they must be filled with the Holy Spirit, and they are not. Please, please refrain from listening to these people. This is a list that has been compiled over 2 years. Stick with Jesus. Those of us that have been appointed to help the Lord in the end time to bring in the flock on the timeline. On the time, whose timeline? On the timeline. We have been appointed to bring in, to help the Lord in the end time to bring in the flock on the timeline and bring forth teachings that are here to bring in the Messiah. So Andrea has a timeline. We'll get into that in a minute. And she is trying to bring forth the Messiah, to bring in the Messiah, bring forth teachings that to bring in the Messiah. Interesting. Okay, so let's look at the list here, and then we'll backtrack a little bit. There is no agenda on my part, really. We are commanded to expose the darkness. I am to warn as a follower of Jesus Christ and a mouthpiece to his calling at the end. If you have received gifts of the Spirit, you will have discernment on this list. Take it all to the Lord. Absolutely. Take it all to the Lord. I couldn't agree more, Andrea. And here's your list, folks. Some of these people I know or know of, some of them I don't. But here's your list. Now, before I get into the list, let's backtrack about Andrea for a minute, okay? The reason I said in the community page that people that live in glass houses should not throw stones is when I got this information, I shared it with a friend of mine who actually is quite a good investigative researcher. And it did not take them long to find out some things about Andrea. And when Andrea talks about how she lost so much money or gave up her career doing this and that and gave up her family, and I don't know if she's still married or not. If she is, her husband's name is Richard. I don't know. But the information that was found, and like I said, it did not take long from the person that did the investigative research here. They found that Andrea has a bunch of aliases. I mean, a bunch. And apparently, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe witness protection program, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, but a bunch of aliases where they have taken the names from cousins or distant relatives or whatever and combined them or even used those names for her own name. Now, her own name has always been Andrea, but her last name has not always been Zabinski. It's been a lot of other names. I mean, there's a huge list of names, like I said, that she apparently took from cousins, distant relatives, and whatnot. And sometimes she even combines the last names. So why? What for? Now, to be fair, that could have happened, and it probably did, prior to her becoming a Christian 2 years ago. April of 2021 is when she said she became a Christian. She became a follower of Jesus Christ. And immediately the Holy Spirit began to speak to her. Immediately the Holy Spirit began to reveal things to her, give her revelations and all this stuff, to the point where she's basically leading a ministry with almost 2,000 subscribers. And she teaches on all kinds of different subjects, and she has guest people on and so forth. If you look at her channel, you can see what I'm talking about. But basically what it boils down to, it appears that Andrea is a rapture cult leader, because this is the timeline, folks. It started on 3/11/2023 and it goes to 9/11/2023. Now, on the timeline, on April 8th, so basically a little, less than a month from now, April 8th, 9th. 9th is technically Resurrection Sunday, Resurrection Day this year. But they are expecting to be raptured out of here, April 8th, 9th time frame, okay? That's when they're expecting to go, Passover time frame, all right? So, and that's what the people that are following her are being led to believe, and that's what they are, I guess that's why they're listening to her, why they're following her. Now, the interesting thing about Andrea here is she has comments cut off on every single video. You can't comment on anything. What you can do, though, what I might do, I'm not exactly sure yet, is the person that did the investigative research also found a bunch of phone numbers for Andrea over the years. bunch of phone numbers. So who knows what's legitimate, what isn't legitimate. Lots of phone numbers. Nothing wrong with that. People change their phone numbers, have different phone numbers. Andrea had a very successful, according to, I think is on her Facebook page, or at least it was on a profile. She had a very successful designer business, clothing, fashion designer. She's a fashion designer, basically. And that's how she was able to give up so much money over the years and give up everything, you know, and basically talk about how she's lost everything. She gave up everything to the service of Jesus Christ. And, but here's the thing, folks, you don't talk about that. If you give these things up, you give them up, but you don't make a profile about it. You don't mention it. You don't talk about how you don't have an agenda when obviously you really do. And, the interesting thing is about this list is a lot of people on this list are also rapture cult leaders, but somehow, because they're not, I don't get it. It's very hypocritical, because you're a rapture cult leader telling people everybody's going to be out of here, by such and such date. And then you got people on the list that are also rapture cult leaders, as well as people that are not. I mean, this list makes no sense at all to me. I mean, there's a lot of people on here I totally agree with that you should not listen to or follow or communicate with at all. Absolutely. I have no problem with that. Then there's other people making me really scratch my head, Anyway, the whole rapture cult leader thing, I mean, I think the reason she's upset, and I think the reason she put them on the list, is because they also teach the once saved, always saved doctrine, which Andrea is totally against. And you watch some of her videos or listen to some of the things she says, you understand that. Or just go to her profile page, under the description. And like I said, click on the More tab on certain videos, especially this PowerPoint presentation here. You'll see a bunch more names. But I just find it interesting that you can be a rapture cult leader, but other people can't be a rapture cult leader because they don't believe the exact same way you do. So what it appears on this list is if you disagree with Andrea, or you don't like the things that she says, or she doesn't like the things that you say or whatever, you made the list. All right, so let's get into the list here. And, and I just have to ask, why is Andrea so secretive about her past? It's interesting to me. I mean, yeah, nobody wants their skeletons, drawn out of their closet. But when you put out something like this, you got to expect that some people might do a little digging, a little researching themselves. And when you got all these aliases and phone numbers, it brings about some questions. Especially if you were a successful fashion designer and so forth and had this career. But anyway, let's look at the list. You got Amy Walker. I have no idea who that is. You Be Ready. Most people know that. Jonathan Kleck admits he's a fallen angel. Maybe. I don't know. Nelson Schumann. Okay. Hourly Watch on YouTube. Greg Jackson. Mark Allison. Me. Tina Bensant. Really? Now, me, I can understand. People like me, they don't like me, whatever, I've had people come to me, share things with me and say, hey, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I don't like you. I don't agree with you. Cool. Whatever. You're entitled to your opinion. No one has ever come to me and said to me that the Lord told me I can't listen to you. The Father told me I can't listen to you. No one's ever said that. I have had many people come and say, the Lord's led me to this channel, led me to this community, led me to this fellowship, and thank me and so forth, and thank the Lord for doing those things. I've had a lot of people do that. But anyway, Tina, are you kidding me? Tina made the list. Why did Tina make the list? Well, only Tina can really explain that. I'm not going to speak for Tina. But here's the interesting thing, though. Tina does nothing but encourage people, try to help people, okay? That's why I refer to her as sis, okay? She encourages people, she helps people, she challenges people. That's it, okay? Wally Works, I'm pretty sure it's W-E-R-K-S. If you look at under the More tab, it's actually W-E-R-K-S, but she spells it W-O-R-K-S there, whatever. All right, we got Anthony D. Williams, The Sword of God on YouTube. celestial, child of the King, open the eyes of your heart, watching for Jesus, Holy Spirit when. That's Jeff Byerly, folks. You remember him? Jeff hasn't been around for the longest time. And Jeff, is a friend, and Jeff, is a guy that I've talked to several times and I've met personally. So some of these I take exception to. I really do. Hold on. Let me go back when done with the list. Some of these I've never heard of. Haynes Ministry, Brother Chooch, Generation 2434, J.D. Farrar, Rick Warren, Joel Osteen, Rose Hanna. Who's next on the list here? Hold on. Tim Henderson. Okay, so looking at this, all right, this is what intrigues me, okay? I'm number 8, Tina's number 9 on the list, right? So you're telling me that we rank above Joel Osteen? That cracks me up. To me, that's funny. I guess there's no rhyme or reason to this list, but to me, that's funny. All right, and it gets funnier, So out of all these people that are false and support as false prophets, false prophetess, according to Andrea, supports all these false prophets and false prophetesses, and is friends with these people that shouldn't be, and so forth. Really, we're that high up on the list, I don't, like I said, I don't even know who Amy Walker is. I know who Mark Allison is, Greg Jackson, and so forth. But really, and then I noticed some things on the list that she did not include people that I thought for sure she would. Like Eric Hale's not on the list. I'm really shocked by that. Because Eric's on everybody's list. A lot of people can't stand Eric, And if you go into the More tab, he's not even on that list, which really surprised me. And then there's some other people that I think should be on this list that aren't on the list too. So, but anyway, excuse me. Let's continue on. So according to Andrea, you pretty much can't listen to anybody. You shouldn't listen to anybody, which, okay, whatever. Yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Listen to the Lord. Listen to the Holy Spirit, right? Chelsea Bedell, oh yeah. See, Tim Henderson and Chelsea Bedell, these are rapture cult leaders. Okay, these are people that you're out of here at any minute. And they're also once saved, always saved teachers as well, Barry Scarborough, Barry I know they are. Watchwoman 65, Watchman Blows the Horn, Ty Green. Wackadoodle Samoan, heard of the dude, don't know who TOL is. Let's see, who else we got here? Can't see what that one is. Bob Joyce, Watchman of the Dragon, Watchwoman 88, Sabine Fleming, I know who that is. Brenda Weltner, I know who that is. Real Bible Believers, never heard. Robert Breaker, I know who that is. Busy for the Lord, I know who that is. They haven't been around that long. Got a Minute, yep. Christy Winland, don't know. Hope Owens, Jesus the Only Way, no. Andy Woods, Watchman on the Wall 88, I know who that is. Grace and Truth Minute, this one intrigued me. The Assemblies of God churches and any Calvary churches. Why? Probably because Assemblies of God believes in a pre-trib rapture. But then so does Andrea. And depending upon who you listen to, we're in the tribulation, folks. So if you believe that we're in the tribulation, then guess what? We must have missed that pre-tribulation rapture. Because if we're in the tribulation, then the rapture didn't come. Interesting. Assemblies of God in any Calvary churches. So stay away from those. Stay away from any Assemblies of God in any Calvary churches, according to Andrea. Kenneth Copeland, he's possessed. Wouldn't you think he'd make the top of the list? Anyway, T.D. Jake, Creflo Dollar, Joseph Prince, all prosperity teachers. Okay. Kat Kerr, Hank Kuhneman, Perry Stone, Kim Clement. Kim Clement's been dead for years. Maybe somebody should let Andrea know that. Brother Adam, don't know who that is. All right. So, who's next? I mean, this list just goes on and on. Repo Man 64, Marcus Rogers, Adam Fink, Parable of the Vineyard. I know who that is. I know who Marcus Rogers is. Repo Man 64 I heard of. Dr. Gene Kim, because he's not teaching, it's the mark. So don't listen to that guy. Octavia DM, Hebrew roots, don't know. Generation 2434. Oops, I went too far. Hold on. There we go. Steve Fletcher. Why do I keep doing that? All right. Steve Fletcher, Chosen Few, Dr. Pigeon, Jessica at Wild Honey, Mike 44, really? What's wrong with poor Mike? What's Mike do that's so bad? I don't get it. I don't understand. Okay, CDJ Heaven, Breaking Down with Brenda, Mel Loves Jesus. A lot of these people I heard of, I'm familiar with. Some of them I don't know personally, but I would consider them acquaintances. Especially the ones she put on the under the More tab. You know, she included people like Lindley Oz. You know, you can't listen to anybody according to Andrea here. Sister Barbara and Dan, that's, what do you call it, God's Healer 7. Christine Beadsworth. I know people who are friends with Christine Beadsworth. I am not, but I know people who are. Vicky Parnell, Vicky Adkins. Are you kidding me? Chuck and Vicky Adkins. Does anybody ever listen to Vicky Adkins? Vicky Adkins is a woman of God, and so is her husband. Whatever. Savio Pereira, Chosen Few, Nelson Waters, Ronnie Swapper, don't know any of them. Jerry Tony, I'm familiar with. Lists poor Mark Allison twice. NWO Nemesis, really? Jenna? NWO Nemesis. Got a problem with Jenna, huh? Joshua Chopra, Pastor Sandy. I know people who actually attend Pastor Sandy's church. They have no problem with Pastor Sandy. Anyway, so don't go to those churches or listen to Pastor Sandy, according to Andrea. Church, and then she ends it with Rebecca Rage. And then she's like, I have no agenda other than I gave my life to Christ. We already read this. In April 2021. Here's the $1 million question, folks. How is it that somebody that gave their life to Christ in April 2021 was radically saved, all right, and then immediately began hearing the Holy Spirit, becomes a Bible teacher? Are you kidding me? Really? All of a sudden they hasn't even been saved 2 full years yet, you know, and they immediately become this Bible teacher and this rapture cult leader, telling everybody they're getting out of here on February 8th or 9th of 2023. Now, I'm almost done, and here's the last part of this. This timeline goes that they've set up on her channel here from March 11th, 2023 to September 11th of 2023. All right. Now, here's the kicker. On April 8th, April 9th time frame, what have you, when the rapture occurs, according to Andrea, okay, and she and her followers are all gone and everybody else, and that they all believe they're part of the 144,000 as well, of course. Now, when they're all gone, all right, then all hell begins to break loose over the next 5 months. Now, 5 months so that's April to September, all right? And if you look it up, you can find it. If you want to do some research, just take my word for it or whatever. She wrote a left behind letter for everybody that's going to be left behind to endure all this hell for the next 5 months after they're raptured, all right? I had to laugh, to be honest with you, when I read it. I mean, I had to laugh at it because it is absolutely ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, you know? And she's telling people don't take the mark and, you know, give up your life for Jesus if you have to, and trying to encourage people and leaving scriptures and so forth and so on. And it's like a left behind letter because you didn't make it. Sorry, you just didn't. So now you're going to be here to endure things for the next 5 months. Just 5 months though? Kind of weird. But anyway, because on 9/11, that's when they're expecting all hell to break loose and just chaos and violence everywhere and just insanity and, you know, oh my gosh, you know, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, kind of thing, you know. But so that timeline goes from April 11th to 9/11, but they're going to be out of here on April 8th or 9th, so it really won't affect them too much. So This is Andrea Zabinski, folks. This is what she put out. This was her list of people you cannot or should not listen to. And I said, a lot of people on the list I have no problem with. I wouldn't touch them with 10-foot pole, okay? I mean, I have no problem with a lot of people on the list. All right. Other people, I just have to shake my head, scratch my head at. I'm just like, all right, whatever, I guess. And like I said, you go into the More tab, you can see even more names. There's Edward Umling, Lynn Lee Oz, and I can't remember who else. But anyway, I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because, see, this is the problem. This is the hypocrisy and the cowardice. You don't open up comments for anybody to comment on anything ever. That's very cowardly. You want to call these people's names out, put them up in a video, myself, Tina Bensant, other people I know or I'm acquainted with and so forth, and then you expect that you're just going to walk away from that. It doesn't work like that, all right? You don't want to leave the comment section open. No way for people to really contact you directly, defend themselves. She offers absolutely no evidence for the most part on anything except putting some parentheses here and there. He's possessed, or he doesn't teach this, or he doesn't teach that, or there's no evidence. They said, "Oh, just take it all to the Lord." Okay, fine. Write down the list. Keep a copy of it. Take each and every person to the Lord, to the Holy Spirit, and to see if you should listen to them or not listen to them. Okay, well, whatever, But there's no evidence at all of anything for the majority of the people on here on why you should not listen to them or follow them or check out their channel or subscribe or anything at all. There's no evidence whatsoever. Just a whole list of people, and basically, not necessarily bragging, but talking about herself and how she gave up her whole life didn't say she's a fashion designer, but if you look it up, you can see that's what she did. And, and how much time she spent reading the Word and how much money she lost and how she doesn't communicate with her family anymore. And, because they're all marked and this and that. And it's like, okay, but you're going to be out of here because you're a rapture cult leader, and everybody that doesn't believe the way you do, I guess, is screwed, is hosed, and and everybody that listens to the people that you have listed here, I guess they're hosed too. So I don't know what to tell you, folks, but this is the cowardice and the hypocrisy, like I said, because it's like a lot of the people she lists here are also rapture cult leaders, believe that you can, disappear at any time now. And, so the difference is, I guess, they teach the once saved, always saved doctrine, and Andrea doesn't believe in that. But, okay, here it is. Here's the video. Check it out. Don't check it out. This is Andrea. She's got a beef with a lot of people, apparently. And she decides to put this whole list out. And I just went through her entire 5-minute video here for the most part. And Andrea, if you watch this, all I can say is, don't cast stones, lady. People live in glass houses, and he without sin, or she without sin. Because I don't know who you think you are. I don't know who made you God. I don't get it. I really don't. But it's interesting. It's interesting. I guess these people have nothing better to do with their time. I mean, I guess if you've already made so much money, I mean, you can just basically just make videos and do a bunch of teachings and cut off the comments, and because you just don't want to hear it from anybody, now do you? Well, you're hearing it from me, and you might hear it from other people because your phone numbers are everywhere. You have not done a good job of covering your tracks. You've got phone numbers. It did not take this person that's a very good investigative researcher long to find out anything they wanted to about you. Didn't take them long at all. And so I don't know if you're going to get any phone calls or not. You might. Because if they can do it, other people can do it. And if they want to look up your phone numbers, they can. And I don't know which ones are legit and which ones aren't. I don't know what your family situation is like. And I have no idea what else is going on with you, but you might want to be careful because your phone numbers are out there and all your aliases are out there. You can't cover your tracks that well. So present your evidence. Like I've said to other people, you know, that have accused me and others of being a Freemason, a witch, and a warlock, and present your evidence. Where is your evidence? Present the evidence, or just shut up, because you really don't know what you're talking about.